Okay, so the next play I want to touch on out of the A slot offset is the PA Verts shot play, which is kind of similar to the PA crossers out of the trips formations and shotgun. Now, for me, the crossing route on this is something that I'm not looking to immediately hit. I've noticed since like one of the more recent patches, the crossing routes aren't nearly as OP as they once were. They can be guarded. Now, in game, they still do usually do a really good job of getting open no matter what, but in practice mode, it doesn't really perform as the exact same way. So there are other routes on this that I actually prefer to look for. You know, if the crossing route's there, I'll take it, but it's not what I'm really trying to key in on, at least with this first setup. So this first setup, I just put A on a fade, and then I put X on an in route. Now, in game, I would leave the play action because it plays off of the inside zone run very well, and it kind of keeps your opponent on his heels, not knowing if you're going to run or pass. But in practice mode, I go ahead and block them because I just noticed that in practice mode, when you carry out play action, the blocking is just horrific in practice mode for some reason when you do that. So for practice mode's sake, I block him, but in game, I would typically leave him on the play action. But if you want to take the play action off, you're obviously welcome to do that as well. So just like with the other play that we broke down, you know, if the underneath route is there, I'm taking it. I'm taking my easy 5, 6, 7 to 10 yards every single play if it's there. That's how I think you need to play the game this year because block sheds are a little bit better this year than in years past. Now, the other route I really like on this play is the B route when it crosses over the middle like that. He's going to always have a nice hole to throw to. And keep in mind, that's Harrison Smith back there. He's one of the best zone coverage corners in the game. And he still gets open on that. Now, like I said, the crossing route in game usually works a little bit better than it does in practice mode. You see how the safety is there to defend it. In game, a lot of times, that zone over there will suck further down with the underneath route, the in route. So keep that in mind, but in practice mode, it seems to defend it a little bit better. But that's why I say I don't key in on that crossing route. It's not my main read with this setup on the play. Now, against cover 2, same thing. If your underneath route is there, you always take it. It's too easy. He got a really terrible animation there, and we still got 5 yards, but we should have been able to get 10. But we're gonna run it again. He just kind of jumped up in the air for no reason to make the catch. That's just sometimes you don't have control over the animations in this game. But you see there, we got about 8 yards. It got lit up, but we got about 8 yards. So if the underneath route is there, cover 3, cover 2, no matter what the coverage, you want to take that every time. Now, if you want to wait and hit them a little bit later, have a little bit more room to work with, and then get in the open field and try to do some moves, jukes and spins, very effective. You can do that. So it's up to you. You can throw them quicker, or you can wait a little bit later if you prefer to do so. Now, again, the post route is going to be a nice option for us because the mid read is going to run with the tight end on the fade, and you see just how open Brandon Cooks gets over the middle of the field. Even if we put him on a deep blue, he is going to run with the tight end fade. So whether it's a mid-read or a deep blue, we're going to still have the opportunity to hit this post, which is really good because typically, and we got sacked there, but you see, the block shed's just crazy in practice mode, but we'll just go to the replay, and you can see just how naked Brandon Cooks was on this route here. Just literally no one in sight. There's no one within like 20 yards of him. So that's the two reads I like the most on this play. Now, if they go man defense, of course, you're obviously going to have stuff like the in route. The post isn't really going to be as good against man, but the crossing route, it torches man. And keep in mind, this isn't a good tight end by any means. And of course, just on key, he drops the ball. But he's not even a good tight end. He's not fast. I think he's like 80 speed, which isn't the worst, but he's not like 83, 85 speed or anything like that. He doesn't have good route running, and he's torching his man. So if you have a good tight end here, a Kelsey, a Gronkowski type, Greg Olsen, Jordan Reed, it's going to be even better with them. But this route is so glitchy that man just literally can't defend it. So the next setup for this play, what I like to do is I put A on a whip route, and then I want to drag the X receiver and I'll motion him over. Now again, in game I would keep the play action, but I'm going to take it off here just because in practice mode it does help with the blocking a little bit. Now, what we're doing here is we have two underneath routes. We have the drag that's going to come across, we have the whip underneath, and then we still have the post and the cross. And what this also does is help disguise because the previous play we were doing this same type of motion, so it kind of prevents them from knowing what we're going to do, and of course getting hit with just ridiculous block shed. The block shed is so bad in practice mode that I put in, backup D linemen who are horrible, and they still just get off the block immediately. But with this setup, what you're going to notice is this helps open the crossing route up a lot, especially against cover 3, whereas before it was defended nicely, but now you see that we actually have a pocket to hit it there. And I would even consider that right there pretty good coverage, because usually it's even a lot more open than that. So we're going to run it again. And typically when I run this setup, if I'm trying to hit that crossing route, I will slide a little bit to that side with my QB, because I find it just helps with the throw. But you can see that's how open that cross is with this setup typically. And then, of course, you're still going to have the drag coming underneath and the post. The post isn't going to be maybe as open as it was with the other setup, but you're still going to have a pocket to hit it. But what I really like here is the drag, because you could take this drag, go to the outside with it, because the cross and the post are carrying the coverage back, that the drag just gets absolutely wide open with this setup. So we're kind of just mixing it up, because usually when we motion this guy over, he's on a post or a corner route because of the other setups that we had. But you can see, like, you have that window to hit the post with this setup, but it's just not as good. It's a little bit riskier of a throw. Like, if you're really good at threading the needle, you can get it in there, but that's really not, with this setup, that's not what I recommend throwing. I'm more so looking for the whip, the drag, or the cross. So that was all cover 3. Now, obviously, if they shade underneath with their cover 3, you're still going to have the cross, because that's just going to open it up even more. But when they do this, what you're going to notice is you still can hit this drag over the middle for, like, we got about 6 yards there with underneath shaded coverage. So, I mean, it's when they do that, you still have the ability to hit your underneath read because of how the routes develop on this, but then you have the cross that's going to be open no matter what. Now, if they go cover 2, like I said, in game, the cloud flat is a little bit more liable, to suck down on that whip route. So you kind of just have to make the read in game. But you're either going to have the whip wide open or the cross. Now you see there he sucked down on it. That's what I mean. In game he'll usually do that, but in practice mode he won't always do that. So you have to make the right read in game. Whereas right there what we just did was that wasn't the right read for us. We needed to hit the crosser. So I want to show you what happens now if he does suck down again, which I think he should. And he does, and you see the crosser's wide open. So in game with this setup, the reason I like this setup for the crosser better than the previous is because this setup pretty much always opens that crosser up, whereas the setup we were doing before, it's a little bit more hit or miss with the crosser. That's why with the first setup, I look more to the in route underneath and see there, he didn't drop back with it, so he hit the whip. But with the first setup, I'm more so hitting the in route or the post route. With this setup, I'm looking more to the drag and the crosser. So that's really just the difference. It's, different setups, but also we have that same motion so that they're not really sure what play we're running. We don't want to give them, a read on what we're trying to do. And you see just how open it can get. Now, if they were to, do a cover 2 and try to shade underneath, which I don't think many people would do this just because it's really risky to do that. Of course, your crosser is going to still be open, but if they were to do something like this, the post is going to be, absolutely wide open over the middle. I mean, just all day long. And if we tried to make a juke there, but we got sucked in. But if you make a move there, you're going for a touchdown. So, and then again, if they play man, same thing. The crosser is going to always toast man, but then you have the motion drag route. The whip route, if you have a good tight end, will get open against man as well. But right there, I mean, as you can see, that tight end's not good, so the cornerback's going to be able to defend him. But no matter what, you're going to always have the drag and the crosser. Those are going to always be pretty much money against man with this setup. The whip route, if you have an elite tight end, you'll be able to get some separation there. But if I see man, I'm looking crosser and drag, because no matter what, those have the biggest play potential. Even if that whip route does beat his man, I mean, you're talking, 4 to 5 yards, which, I mean, not the worst gain in the world, but as you can see, that drag just got us about 10, and the crosser is going to get us 10 plus. So if I read man, I'm not even thinking about the whip route, but just note it's there. And of course, the block shed is just super instant in practice mode, but you can see the crossing route running wide open. So that is my 2 setups for this play. I'll see you in the next video.